you bleed green? Are you an ultimate Eagles football fan? Well, you're in the right place. This is Birds 365, hosted by the new Mac and Mac, Jody McDonald and John McMullen.
Here we go!
Who collectively have covered and talked about more than 50 plus years of Eagles football. Kick off your day with Birds 365. You'll get debate.
We love to argue.
You'll get the real story from inside the locker room. And you'll hear from some of the great football minds from around the region. You're about to become an Eagles insider. Get in the game. Join Jody Mack and Johnny Mack and join the football community that flocks to Birds 365. Birds 365 starts right now.
Welcome to the NFL. Let's go! Let's go! Go! Good Tuesday get-together here on the JAKIB YouTube channel. This is Birds 365 with your Mac and Mac guys, John McMullen and Jody McDonald. And yes, we're still basking in the glow. A little bit of a victory over the Dallas Cowboys, the team the Eagles have had some problems with over the last 4 years. Maybe not so much this year with their victory on Sunday night in front of a packed house at Lincoln Financial Field. Good day to be a Philadelphia sports fan, J-Mac. Eagles 6-0, Sixers start tonight. Phillies get the NLCS underway. The whole city should just be enveloped in the fact that they've got the only undefeated football team here in town, but they're getting to share the spotlight a little with some of the other sports teams here in the city.
Yeah, maybe it's good for the Eagles because they're always typically the story. The Flyers have got to, we got to give Kevin Kincaid a shout out with the Philadelphia Union. They're really good. Throw them in the mix. Yeah, I mean, usually it's all Eagles all the time. That's why we exist. It's still all Eagles all the time, let's be honest. But it's probably nice for the Eagles to have a little respite where people are going to pay a lot of attention to the Phillies this week.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the pander-in-chief back yesterday?
Yeah. He had the Phillies hoodie on. I'm sure he took it off immediately when the Zoom was turned off. It goes
You
off.
think so, huh?
I'm pretty sure of that. Yeah.
Went with the Philly red. Here's where I want to go. And we got a lot to break down, telling DeMarcus Lawrence to shut up. He kind of kept a low profile after the game after having anything but a low profile leading into it. Russell Wilson struggling again last night. Where did Russell Wilson go? I know he's a little banged up, but damn, did the Eagles dodge a bullet on that one. But before we even go there, the pander-in-chief, who came up with that nickname, by the way? I want to give credit to the person.
I think I did.
Would you?
I believe.
Hey, I'll give you the credit.
I have never heard anyone else use it.
Okay, Johnny Mac. I got to tell you, I flat out love it because that is, and it's said with a smile on the face, or at least it is by me.
I like Nick a lot, but I think that kind of stuff is silly. Like I was talking to Jordan Davis last week. And somebody that shall remain nameless, he's obviously went to Georgia. He's from, I think, South Carolina, but he's a Braves fan. And he had a Braves hat in his locker. And he said, you better hide that. And I'm like, why is he going to hide? He's a Braves fan. He's not from here. He's allowed to do what he wants to do. It bothers me that people expect. Janelle Pumphrey used to wear his love of Los Angeles on he loved the Dodgers, the Lakers. And he would also often wear Dodgers gear or Lakers gear, and he'd get killed for it. Now more because he didn't succeed as a player, so it gets enveloped into people see him wearing that. I always thought it's just nonsense, and you have to come into the city you happen to get hired in, because that's what it is. This is professional sports.
Right.
This is a job. Well, if I leave Philadelphia tomorrow and go cover Houston, I'm not becoming a Texans fan, which shockingly a lot of people think. You know, if you cover the team, I get this every day. Oh, you must love the Eagles. You have to love the Eagles. No, I have to cover the Eagles. I have to objectively report on the Eagles. You know, win, lose, or draw, it's not affecting my job. So same thing with the athletes, in a different way, obviously a different tint. They very much want to win. Jordan Davis very much wants the Philadelphia Eagles to win. You don't give a rat's ass if the Philadelphia Phillies win. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
There's nothing wrong with that.
How many calls I've taken on that very thing over the years. Don Brown used to be the Philly outfielder who for a minute was an all-star and then kind of evaporated for the rest of his career. Was a big Dallas Cowboy fan, went to an Eagle Cowboy game, and how dare he? We should run him out of Philadelphia. Should not be allowed to play for a Philadelphia team if you don the Dallas Cowboy hat. I would then respond with, and Rasheed Wallace, who's a Philly guy, who played all over the NBA, who used to wear his Flyers sweater everywhere.
Yeah.
Is he a fraud? Is he a bad
Mike
dude
Trout,
because he takes his Philadelphia fandom to his cities in which he played? Oh, no, that's cool. You're so myopic and so transparent. It's just all about Philadelphia. It's got nothing to do with what's right or wrong or what can be done or what's a violation.
And everybody loves Mike Trout. And, you know, he's at the Eagles game again on Monday night. And, you know, people would say, well, Mike Trout's going to sign with the Phillies because he loves the, you know, I mean, he got the big check. Yeah, and Mike did the right thing for his life and his. I mean, he can come back and watch Eagles games. The funny thing about that, he's got enough money, so
he is a true fan. But I love the nickname you made up, pander-in-chief. And yesterday, the coach had the Phillies red on. Good for him. I got no problems with it. And if you say he just does it for effect when he's doing video conferences, I get it. But I was disappointed yesterday. Nick Sirianni should not have had on a Philadelphia Phillies hoodie. There was a better direction to go. And it did amaze me. Have you seen the T-shirts about Jose Alvarado of the Phillies?
I have not.
He came out with a statement. It was 10 days ago, 2 weeks max. Strike one, strike two, good luck. And it was a great quote. And damn if within like 48 hours, 72 hours max, they had T-shirts made up. Strike one, strike two, good luck, with Alvarado's framing on the shirt. And I saw them at the game on Friday for the NLCS. And I just thought it was phenomenal. I was surprised. I Googled this morning, Johnny Mac, and if you Google Alvarado strike one, strike two, you'll get 5, 6, 7, 8 different companies that are.
Oh yeah, those t-shirt people are quick, man.
They really are, and I'm kind of disappointed because we're now here on Tuesday morning. I went to Google this morning. I thought maybe I'd be able to order one, a Stoutland University T-shirt. I thought we'd have that already, and I thought there was a good chance that the coach would be wearing that in yesterday's Zoom Fest, because he does like to take advantage of his platform, be it on Zoom, to talk to you guys and Eagle fans all across the Delaware Valley. I thought we'd already have a Stoutland University T-shirt, Johnny Mac. Are we slipping here in this town?
You know, maybe I think, and I don't know. I mean, the T-shirt people can chime in here because I think they have to take advantage of the urgency of the Phillies run. So I think they're more focused on that because you know, Eagles you can spend a little time on, I think.
Okay.
And you don't have to have that. You gotta seize the moment with Phillies, Sixers, Flyers. If they're making a run, you gotta seize that moment. With the Eagles, it's sort of like Birds 365. You can relax. You're good, but you want to be the first too. So there's constantly.
I was a little surprised, and I thought if anybody would have it, it would be the pander-in-chief of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, he'll get it because people send him these T-shirts he wears. So he gets all these free T-shirts, and so if you're a T-shirt guy, send him a T-shirt, and he might wear it. He might wear your T-shirt. But yeah, he'll get it eventually when it does come across his desk, and he'll probably wear it at some point, I would think. And he does. Yeah. I mean, Nick's a great guy, but yeah, I was, the funny thing about the Phillies and the Sixers and well, the Flyers haven't been good recently, but the funny thing about that stuff is you'll see the green stuff underneath. Usually if you're live, sometimes you can hide it better in Zoom. And as I said, one of the Eagles PR guys is right off stage ready to give him back his Eagles sweatshirt. Yeah, I just have fun with it. I get why he does it, but.
And I thought he could have a little fun with his Studley offensive line coach yesterday. But if the enterprising T-shirt people in this town, and there are plenty, and they're really good, aren't quite up to speed. That just
and by the way, not that he needs it, but Jordan Mailata should trademark that, and well, he'd probably give it to Stoutland, but Jose Alvarado, he should trademark that right away. But you can't do it quick enough for these people.
Once upon a trademarking is something that isn't as easy as you would think it is.
Yeah.
Because yours truly, many moons ago, coined the phrase "flyered up" when the Philadelphia Flyers were a very good team in a year where they had a chance to make a Stanley Cup playoff. And I said it on the air, and someone suggested I should. And I made one inquiring phone call, and there was a lot of work behind this. And I said, okay, thank you very much. And boom, down with the phone and down with any.
So I shouldn't try to trademark pander-in-chief.
You can, but I'm telling you, you put
too much work. No, I don't have enough time.
4 days of your life to make all the phone calls.
I don't have enough time.
The
the most silly one of all was Pat Riley, right? Three-peat. I mean, come on, Pat, stop. But he tried.
He made a chunk of change on that. He actually pulled it off. He did trademark it. So I'll give him at least that. I couldn't, never liked Pat Riley, never will like Pat Riley. I could tell you Pat Riley stories that nobody cares about here on Birds 365, but I'll give him the nod for that one. But yeah, many years ago, flyered up was a phrase that I coined, and the flyered up T-shirts came out and somebody else made money on it. But don't kid yourself. That was a Jerry McDonald creation. Somebody should take advantage of Stoutland University, because in the moment on Sunday Night Football, it was great, and it's so fitting and on point for how important he is for the Philadelphia Eagles, for Jordan, Mr. 7th round draft pick Mailata, now Pro Bowl level left tackle. It all adds up, and for a Philadelphia Eagles fan, it's something you should be able to get your hands on. All right, one other thing from the pander-in-chief yesterday, which I did like. He was asked to address the difference between the first half Philadelphia Eagles and the second half Philadelphia Eagles. You chalked it up to human nature, that they come off the throttle a little bit, that they got a lead, sense of urgency, all those things. But the numbers are the numbers. They're far and away the highest scoring team in the NFL in the first half. I think I read, maybe it was Reuben Frank's column or somebody's column today, 4th most in the history of the NFL, first half scoring, and the most since the 2020 Rams, 21 points a game in just the first half so far this year. But then for varying reasons, they haven't put up near as many points. In a couple of games, they've had to go into we're going to use the ball control drive to end this game and run it right down your throats, which is an accomplishment into itself. But he did address it yesterday. He said, yeah, we got to do a little more scoring in the second, because I don't want my father to get nervous. And my father's got to sweat it out at home because we're not putting the games away the way that we want. I love that. He does make reference to his history and his background and where he comes from and worrying about his dad. That's just another reason why you got to like a guy like Nick Sirianni. But he was talking about a legit concern. All right, Johnny Mac, how big a concern is this, that the Eagles seem to be a much better first half team than second half team in their 6 games?
Well, I don't think it's been a problem at all in the first half, and we'll say half before the bye. they're 6-0. So how big of a problem can it be? He kind of made reference. He used different terminology than what I did, but he said the second half is played a bit differently. So, you want to finish the game. If you got a big lead, you shift gears a little bit. It's common sense. Now, I think, in the modern NFL, people have seen somebody 13 seconds, would be the most famous. You think the game's over, and it's not over. And here comes Patrick Mahomes and the biggest collapse, and Buffalo's should be in the Super Bowl. They're not. And I think, people look at comebacks and they see them every week in the NFL, and they're never feeling safe. But every time the Eagles have been pushed, they've answered. They had the big drive in Arizona, the big drive at Dallas, the big drive in Detroit. They've answered. Now, would you prefer, and this is the standard that Jalen Hurts talks about, Nick Sirianni talks about, this nebulous standard, would you prefer perfection? Yes, but it's unrealistic. And that's where I use the term human nature all the time. I don't know how you combat that. If you're up 20-0, it's like city driving. I'll use a sleigh, city fumble versus country fumble. It's like city driving versus country driving. You're, in the city where you got all this traffic, you're a little bit more alert. You gotta make sure what's going on around. You're in the country, you could sit back, relax, enjoy the view, sit and it's human nature, Jody. It really is. And every time they've been challenged, they've answered. So from that standpoint, when I look at special teams, for instance, well, no, that's a problem. That's a legitimate problem that they have to clear up.
But let me jump in here. Why? If the answer for they score less in the second half than the first half is, yeah, but we're 6-0. Well, you can say the same thing about special teams. Yeah, the special teams. You watched it. I watched it. We can point out where their shortcomings are. Can't the answer be, yeah, but they're 6-0?
Well, the difference is they have been challenged and they have answered. They haven't been challenged with the special teams mistakes, and they haven't sort of won games. In other words, there hasn't been an evening of the pendulum. It's bad on special teams. Occasionally they were pushed in certain games and they answered. So to me, they've proven with an answer. They keep talking about special teams. Nick made a big thing about coverage and saying, it's not that bad, which is, I guess, comparatively speaking to the returns and the blocks and the fakes and all the failures there. Compared to that, it's not bad. But they haven't done much good on special teams other than Jake Elliott and Aaron Cepas, you got to be fair, has bounced back after a really bad game, had 2 good games. But you don't see much good on special teams. You have seen the big drives, 13 plays, 75 yards. The Arizona 9 minutes, stinking 9 minutes, Jody. I think 8:52 was the exact number. The 4-minute drive in Detroit where they didn't give the ball back to Detroit. Yeah. So everybody's hand wringing. They didn't get the ball back. They didn't get it back. That's perfect. That's exactly what you're trying to do. That, to me, is the difference between the two categories.
That's true. Because with the offense, they have given themselves some balance. They have given themselves some wiggle room. The special teams, where has been the outstanding special teams? The outstanding first half play offensively is well on record. Don't know that there's any juncture you circle. Oh, but we were great in this game, and especially even this first half of the special. Don't know that they've had that at all this year. So, good point by Johnny Mack. We'll try and continue to make them, and we'll get a helping hand next. We have moved them around. We've had them on the Mondays, on Tuesdays, on Fridays. Anytime we plug them in.
Used to be Friday at Kratz. Now you got to get them when you can. But a big deal. He's a big deal.
Anytime you can get a superstar like Ed Kratz on the show, you do it whenever you can. You just plug him in, you wind him up, you let him go, and that's exactly what we're planning on doing next. Ed Kratz from Sports Illustrated can jump aboard here with the Birds 365 guys.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction. Go with trust.
Go Birds!
And go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the Birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown's 5-day used car super sale. Jeff puts an end to high prices now. 5 days of the best car, truck, and SUV deals ever. Over 1,000 vehicles, every make and model. Stop overpaying. See Jeff today and get a quality car, truck, or SUV now. The 5-day used car super sale. Experience how easy it is to deal at Jeff's. Nobody treats you better. Nobody gives you more. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. GoJeffAuto.com.
John McMullen, Jody McDonald, your Mac Birds 365 guys, and we are joined by another football expert. Or at least John tells me he is. I'm not. We love him whenever we punch him up. He does a great job for Sports Illustrated. Been John's Eagles insider for a couple of years now. Ed Kratz jumps aboard here on Birds 365. Are you feeling like you're missing something on your chin? Because both McMullen and I have some. I got more than him, but you missed a little hair down there. Are you going gray beard on us for this Eagles run? Join the fray, Eddie Kratz.
No, I'm just making sure I don't have any egg pieces left for my egg sandwich.
I thought you were pondering all the deep thoughts that you're going to be offering up to us for this undefeated Philadelphia Eagles team.
I do very little pondering, John. I just wanted to make sure there was no crumbs that from the breakfast that I just woofed down a few minutes before jumping on here. So
well, with the coach, we have the pander-in-chief. With you, we could have the ponder-in-chief. We get T-shirts made up. Anything deserves a T-shirt these days.
I wanted a 92-46 T-shirt last week, Jody. Come on, where were they? The 92-46 motivation for the Eagles and the Cowboys.
Yeah. Well, Jody brought up a good point. Jeff Stoutland University. I thought that would pop up right away. It hasn't popped up. Well, Jody, I'm just stealing Jody's stick, but it hasn't popped up yet.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Which the Philly stuff is just a sense of urgency that you have to take advantage of it with the Phillies and the Eagles. You can kind of take your time with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess so. But yeah, that was just ingenious. But Jordan Mailata, man,
that was phenomenal. I loved it.
Well done.
I really loved it.
Yeah. And then he went out and played a good game. You talked to him afterward, John. I mean, he was in pain after that game.
Oh,
His shoulder was
on
fire, he said. And that's how he's going to spend his bye. He said he's just going to stick around and do rehab, for the next week instead of taking any time off. He's just going to try to get that shoulder better. But gutty effort by Mailata and just, a great quip at the start of that telecast.
And he was going most of the day against DeMarcus Lawrence, who, for him, sorry, buddy, ran your mouth before the game. And then I can't say he was a no-show because he was in on a bunch of tackles, but I don't remember him in the backfield at all in Sunday's game against the Philadelphia Eagles. So, yeah, Jordan Mailata proved that he had better than passing grade, straight A out of Stoutland University, because he basically neutralized DeMarcus Lawrence in the Eagle backfield.
Yeah, you're right. Lawrence had 8 tackles, but didn't have any sacks. And, that's something he doesn't really do against the Eagles. You look up his career stats, he's only got 3 of them in 15 career games now. But, he's obviously a very talented football player, whether he's sacking the quarterback or not. He can, make plays and make tackles. And Mailata did a good job against him, though. And kudos to him. Like I said, he was in a lot of pain. I was really surprised that he played, to be honest. I had a sense that Dillard was probably going to start that game, and they would give Jordan that extra week with this bye coming up. But they went right at Mailata. He played 100% of the snaps, I think, and he gutted it out.
Yeah, he did. And, you would think DeMarcus Lawrence would learn because, he hasn't had a lot of success against Lane Johnson over the years. And, that's one thing. And our buddy Mike Sealski wrote about this, so I'll give him a plug in the Inquirer. But that's the 3rd concussion for Lane Johnson, I think, in 5 years. And you know how this league is turning with the Tua stuff. And Nick Sirianni said there was no update. Now, you can't offer much when somebody goes into the concussion protocol, but any reason for concern because of the way this sport is going, and they're being very cautious with these types of things, and Lane Johnson getting diagnosed with a concussion.
Well, absolutely. There's a concern. The more concussions you have, the greater chance you probably have of, CTE down the line, and nobody wants to see that. So they have to make sure he's ready to return when he does return. And you would think that this week off would help get him pointed in the right direction, but who knows? Maybe they'll be more cautious. I always thought coming into this season that this would be Lane's last year for whatever reason.
Wow.
But until he said otherwise, right? I mean, he came out and said he's still in his prime. He's still playing good football.
Yeah, he is.
Talks like he's sticking around for a while. But I thought prior to him saying that this could possibly be his last year just because of the injuries that he's had, with that ankle, the struggle to get back, 2 surgeries on his ankle, just what's going on with him, personally in his personal life. I thought there was a chance this might be it for him, and the Eagles could try to take a right tackle to take his place, early in the draft. And they still might do that because, I think he's closer, obviously, to the end than he is at the beginning of his career. But, he said he wants to keep playing. He's still in his prime. His best football's ahead of him. He feels better than he ever has. So I don't think that's the case anymore. But the concussion thing could, throw, a monkey wrench into his plans on that.
Eddie, I thought Driscoll, when he filled in for Mailata, gets hurt relatively early in that Jacksonville game on the pick 6. So he misses 3/4 of the game and then the entire game last week. I thought Driscoll was phenomenal filling in for him. Grading on a curve that he's more of a right-hand side player than a left-hand side player, more of a guard than he is a tackle. To throw him in and expect him to replace a Pro Bowl level guy like Mailata, I thought he did a damn good job. not near as good getting back over to his normal side. When Lane went down, a couple of times he got beat on some pass plays. Certainly trying to block Micah Parsons is one of the toughest assignments in the National Football League for anybody who isn't named Lane Johnson. Were you surprised that after being as good as he was on the left side, that Driscoll struggled going back over to the right?
I was, but again, like you said, it's another grade on a curve thing. I mean, that defensive front for the Cowboys is very good, and they can make you look lost out there. If you're just getting thrown in cold, which he was, but Parsons is a good player. I thought they needed to give him help out there to kind of stop Parsons a little bit better. I think as the half, I should say, went on, the second half, maybe he played a little bit better. They certainly relied on him and his other four line mates to open up some holes in the fourth quarter to run the football. That was encouraging. But, I talked to Kelsey after the game and asked him about Driscoll, and he said, with Andre Dillard back now Jack can just stay completely on the right side and just focus all his preparation on the set, the sets you have to make in the pass game, driving out in the run game. He can just focus that all now on the right side rather than trying to learn both spots during the week. So that I think will help going forward. That Driscoll can now learn just right tackle because Dillard's back to back up Mailata at left tackle. And I still like this Brett Toth who's recovering from the ACL tear. We see him rehabbing every time we're out of practice. He looks good. He looks fine. I've talked to him. He said he feels good. So I would think it's only a matter of time before he returns, and then he gets into the mix at one of those tackle spots. And he might be better than Jack Driscoll. We'll see. But I think Driscoll will be better now that he's just able to focus on right tackle, and he won't be playing the Cowboys front again until Christmas Eve.
Stoutland University with Brett Toth. I think way too many times people don't take into account the other team. I mean, that's Micah Parsons out there.
Yeah.
That's, the Eagles talked about him all week. Nick Sirianni behind the scenes was talking all week. Hey, if you can't block him, read him. Yeah. They did that a couple times. They knew they couldn't block him. I mean, nobody can block him.
Right.
He would be the defensive player of the year. You don't have to play against that. I kind of blame the coaching staff, to be honest. And when I was talking to Nick about ball security yesterday, he went off into this hour-long answer. But, he took responsibility. He still takes responsibility for that interception against Jacksonville, I think, with Kenny Gainwell. It was a bad screenplay. He takes responsibility for that. Well, he should take responsibility, and Shane Steichen, for putting Jack Driscoll out there cold, as you said, against Micah Parsons and expecting something different. I mean, that's the best defensive player in football.
Yeah. He probably needed some help for sure.
Yeah.
But listen, I mean, he's showing confidence in Stoutland University. You get your degree from Stoutland University.
Hey, it's a good degree, Ed, but
man, that was a real world test for Jack Driscoll.
Yeah. I mean, that's like giving the master's degree out after 1 year of curriculum at Jeff Stoutland University.
That was the Stoutland Junior College, you're saying.
Yeah.
He looked as good as he did at left tackle. I was a little surprised, even against the best guy in the National Football League. And I think you make a good point, John. Keep a back end, chip a tight end, or just a little bit of a helping hand for the young man would have been nice. But again, Eagles win. So
by the way, I want to take credit. My X factor in the countdown to kickoff was Jack Stoll. I thought they would play him more. They played him a season high because they came into the game knowing they needed help on Parsons with injured, admittedly, Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson. And then after Lane leaves, they kind of go away from it. So, again, I have to look at the coaching staff more than Jack Driscoll at that point.
Yeah. it still looked like he was on his way to a career game, and I guess one catch for 21 yards.
Yeah. Well, it was a career game
for Jack
yeah.
Stoll. I mean, that's career high, I think, in receiving yards in a game, and it came on one catch.
But he's a blocker. He's out there to block, and they had him out there quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah.
But he did make that one big catch. All right, so Ed, should we just shut down the rest of the season and let the Eagles start preparing for the playoffs because they've already put away this division, or do you give the Giants at 5-1 still some credit and go, this is not a fraud team, they're a legit team?
Well, listen, I'll go all coach speak on you and say, Jody, it's a week-to-week league. You're just trying to be 1-0 every week. But yeah, listen, the Eagles with 6 wins already in the bank. I mean, they've built up quite a cushion here. They would really have to fall flat on their face or just have a really crazy amount of injuries for this to go off the rails at this point. So yeah, they're a playoff team, definitely. But I like how the NFC East is, playing better. It's not like they're running away with this thing. Last year, 2 years ago, they'd have a 3-game lead in this division at this point. But, the Giants aren't going away. And everybody keeps saying, well, are they for real? I think they're for real. Why wouldn't you? I mean, they've beaten the Ravens. They've beaten the Packers. Granted, those 2 teams have struggled. But, listen, the Giants would have lost to both those teams last year. So, yeah, the Giants are good. And they're not going anywhere. They're 5-1. I think they come into an easier part of their schedule now. Cowboys 4-2. They have a fairly easy next couple games. I think they play the Lions and the Bears. They should be sitting at 6-2. So yeah, the Eagles' lead is very tenuous at 6-0. They have to keep winning because these other teams, I think, are going to keep winning right along with them. And we could see 3 teams from the NFC East in the playoffs, which would just be
how about that?
Yeah, absurd. Yeah, so these teams are going to play each other twice because these division teams always do, but they might play a third time in the playoffs if all 3 teams from this division get in, and it's a real possibility at this point.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Now, coming out of the bye, though, boy, it looks good for the Eagles. You got Mitch Trubisky and the Steelers spruced up at home. Then you got a short week, but your Thursday night game, you can't get a better Thursday night road trip than Houston and Davis Mills and the Texans. I mean, that's a bad football team. They just don't have a ton of talent. And then you have Washington coming back, and as we all predicted, no Carson Wentz. It's going to be Taylor Heineke now. Maybe your guy, Sam Howell, but they want no part of Sam Howell.
Sam Howell's
I hope it's Sam Howell.
And oh, by the way, Ed, the current day North Carolina quarterback is twice the player that Sam Howell is.
Who is the North Carolina quarterback, Jed?
A sophomore kid who's putting up baffle numbers. I've seen him play a couple times. I don't know why I've watched. Well, one week I picked him and I bet him, so I was paying specific attention to the game. I can't think of the kid's name. He's been dynamite for them. He's got a legit arm, unlike Sam Howell. Eddie Pratt's his favorite.
Sam Howell,
yeah,
but,
okay.
That's pretty easy. That's a pretty easy landscape for the Eagles coming out of the bye. It really is.
Yeah, it looks that way. Now, listen, I think the only team in that stretch that can beat the Eagles is the Eagles. I mean, if they come out and they're uncharacteristically sloppy and making mistakes, which they haven't shown the propensity to. I mean, they've only turned the ball over twice.
That's unbelievable. That's what I was talking to Nick about. It cannot sustain itself, Ed, or is that just luck? I mean, let's be honest. The ball bounces the wrong way. So you had a bad, not a bad snap. I shouldn't say that, but Kelsey snapped the ball before Jalen Hurts was ready against Dallas. He managed to get back on the football. If that goes the other way, they've been lucky when it comes to the turnover. They're plus 12. All right, which is tremendous through 6 games.
Yeah.
The second team in the NFL is plus 4. I mean, that gap is what can that continue? Or is that sort of a market? It's gonna go back to the mean, whatever you want to call it. Is there just too much luck going on in the turnover realm?
Yeah, I think what you mentioned with like interceptions, I think you can get unlucky there with the way the ball bounces, or if a receiver has a ball go off his hands and it goes up in the air and it's picked off. I think that's how Andre Sisco intercepted that pick 6. I think Hurts tried to feed it in there. I think it was Zach Pascal.
Yeah. Well, that was double coverage, but you're right. It popped up.
It popped up. They pick it. But I think what you can control in the turnover arena, if you will, is the fumbling. And they haven't done that. Now, yeah, Kelsey, snapped it before Hurts was ready on that one play, and they got lucky to recover it. But they're doing a really good job holding on to the football because fumbling is something you can control. I mean, if you have two hands on that ball and the way guys strip at it and, try to punch it out, it's going to be harder to do that. And I give credit to Jamal Singleton in this area because we see him doing these ball security drills.
Yeah.
And, he's an old military guy, went to the Air Force Academy. We wrote about that drill they did at training camp with the punt. He's got the boxing gloves and he's punching guys.
Oh, man. He's beating the crap out of people.
The ball. He's like a boxer. And the guys, sometimes you see him get it out, or they would pull at the ball. They have the ball with the string, and they try to pull it out as he's running through the obstacle course there. Sometimes it works, but I think that constant – and they do it every day at practice. We see it when we go out to practice. They do ball security drills at the start of every practice. And I think that's what they're trying to control is the fumble part of it. Yeah, you're going to turn the ball over through the air, on a fluke pass or a bad read, a ball that bounces up in the air. But fumbles, if you can control those, and they have – then yeah, it's not a fluke. You're going to continue on this trend of holding on to the football while you're turning it over. They have 14 turnovers, this defense. They have 14 forced turnovers in 6 games. That's ridiculous. I think the most I can remember them having, I think, was 27 forced turnovers. And I'm not sure when that was. I think the Super Bowl year, they had 19 forced turnovers. I'd have to check that. But when you're turning the ball over, you're going to be a winning team.
And Coach Sirianni said yesterday that if Joel Embiid wants a little work,
he needs. By the way, he needs that work because he turns it over like a bakery. He makes more turnovers than a bakery.
Protection is important, and the Eagles are offering to give Joel a helping hand. We got some of those military drills for him. Drake May is the quarterback of the North Carolina squad this year. Only has 24 touchdown passes and 2,200 yards in 7 games. He's averaging 300 a game.
He's no Sam Howell.
Are you kidding me? This guy's going to put Sam Howell in his rear view mirror like you read about. Any records that Sam Howell may have amassed over the last couple of years in North Carolina going by the wayside.
I'm just trying to create hype for Washington coming in here.
But that's the first time.
Taylor Heineke, are you jumping on the Heineke bandwagon? Because
they are. They've already kind of made it clear it's going to be Taylor Heineke. So,
yeah, but we'll see. I mean, that's that game's still 3-4 weeks away. So who knows what?
Yeah, 4 weeks. I don't think Carson's going to be there. I think we can guarantee that.
Well, we all thought Carson wouldn't be there because he would be benched.
Yeah.
He's got the broken finger, and we should have thought injury first because, listen, that's just how his career.
That's always a possibility.
That's true. And to be fair, he was on track for getting benched anyway because they're a bad football team. But
but hey, Heineke,
he won his last game before he got hurt. Got a W on exciting Thursday night football.
I love how Thursday night football is maybe the ugliest game I've ever seen. I couldn't turn away for Chicago, Washington because of the incompetence of Chicago mainly. Even more, Washington looked like an actual football team, just a bad one. And then people are saying
the Bears are on the Eagles schedule in December. I mean, again, hey, can they go undefeated? I mean, who on this schedule? Now the Giants, they're not going to beat the Giants twice.
No.
They're not going to beat the Cowboys twice.
They can beat the Cowboys twice.
Well,
that's a tough spot, I think.
That is
Christmas Eve, third game on the road. I think that's a tough spot, but I don't think it's going to matter that much. But we'll see. They're more talented. They're a better team. The reason I bring up that Chicago game, and I'm going to bring up the game last night because a lot of people I saw on social media, another ugly game. A lot of people saying, well, the Eagles really dodged a bullet when Russell Wilson wouldn't consider them, Deshaun Watson as well. And Jalen Hurts has, turned into an MVP candidate. Not going to win it, but he's a candidate. But I think this talks to the Eagles coaching staff as well and what they've done with Jalen Hurts. People assume, too many people assume, that the Russell Wilson in Denver would show up and be the same Russell Wilson in Philadelphia. I don't think that's the case. I think this coaching staff would have built an offense around Russell Wilson, and he would have succeeded. I think the same thing with Deshaun Watson. They built it around Jalen Hurts. I give this offensive coaching staff a lot of credit for building an offense, because we talk about all offseason, Ed. Jalen Hurts has got to improve as a passer. He's out with Tom House and company. He does a great job on his mechanics. He has improved. But when the games start, Nick Sirianni does whatever it takes to win a particular game. He might run Miles Sanders into the ground against Jacksonville. He might need to run it for 200 yards. He might need to pass it when Minnesota was playing all that zone coverage. He does whatever it takes to win a particular football game. I think that is rare in the NFL. Other teams, this is my scheme. You play my scheme. I give this coaching staff a lot of credit. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, that said, though, I think Russell Wilson does look a little shell-shocked. He doesn't look like he was. He doesn't have that same quickness, that same mobility in the pocket. He almost tries to get too cute. He's throwing passes way inaccurately. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I guess part of it's the coaching, but, I think Russell Wilson doesn't look good either. I mean, that goes hand in hand, coaches, Wilson. And they did dodge a bullet not getting him. They dodged a bullet not getting Deshaun Watson. And you're right, this coaching staff for the Eagles has done a really nice job putting Jalen Hurts in positions to make plays. I mean, he understands this offense. He's in control of this offense. I think the second year in this offense has helped him immensely. But you have to give Hurts credit too. I mean, there was a play in that game against the Cowboys. I think it was 3rd and 5 on that final drive in the fourth quarter. Maybe it was 3rd and 4, right around the 45-yard line in the negative side of the field. And he saw 2 blitzers that looked like they were going to come through the gaps between the guards in the center. There were 2 standing there. And then when he snapped the ball, they backed off, and he just took the ball and just followed them, knowing that he could probably get those 4 yards. And he had to make a sharp cut to get to that 5th yard to get the first down. But I think that was all Hurts. I think that was all an improvisational play by Hurts. I don't think that was a coaching thing. He recognized that those guys were backing off and they weren't blitzing, and he just followed them right up the field and got the first down. That was huge. It kept the drive going. You get the 4th and 3 or 4th and 2 there, right, around the midfield stripe. I don't know what Nick would have done in a game like that. He might have punted it away. So, you have to give Hurts some credit too. But you're right. This coaching staff, and we talked about Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator, probably going to get some love in the offseason for being a head coach based on how he has helped develop Hurts. He's calling the plays now. Sirianni really, threw him a big bone by letting him do that. Teams, when they're interviewing coaches, like when you're offensive coordinator, you've called plays. So, yeah, I think Steichen's very much in the mix for a head coaching spot, and he's done a great job, him and Nick both, developing Jalen Hurts and the quarterback's coach, Brian Johnson. Really behind-the-scenes guy who's working with Hurts on his mechanics, and he looks really like a completely different quarterback. So, yeah, I give the coaches a lot of credit. You're right.
Yeah, John, let me ask you a question about that. If Sirianni is that good at tailoring an offense specifically for the skill sets of his quarterback, why didn't it kick in last year? The only difference between this year's offense and last year's offense is A.J. Brown. And I'm not going to minimize A.J. Brown. It's a hell of an addition. But it's the same exact 5 offensive linemen. It's the same 3 running backs. It's the same tight ends. It's the same other wide receivers, Quez and Devontae Smith. So they made one. Is A.J. Brown that big a difference? If they're genius at being able to take their quarterback and emphasize his strengths, why didn't it happen last year?
Well, it did. I would say it did in the second half of the season. Remember when Nick got here? But yes, number one, personnel is a big thing. And I've talked about A.J. Brown. He's been the domino where everything kind of falls into place. So that's a big part of it. I don't want to downplay because A.J. Brown has been great. And even when he's not catching the football, he's got an impact on the game because he's making things easier for everybody else. So I don't want to downplay that part of it because that's a big part of it. But when he got here as a rookie head coach, Yeah, he was. He was trying to make Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie happy. He was trying to do what they want: throw the football, 11 personnel, throw it all over the field. That's not what he had, and he had that sort of come to Jesus moment at 2-5, and said, "There's too much on his plate. There's too much on the quarterback's plate. Let's scale it back. Let's build the offense around what he does well." And they took off in the second half of the season. And it was very impressive in the second half of the season. But make no mistake, it was and I don't even call it a run. You know, Jody, I don't call it a run first offense. I don't call it a pass first offense when they're passing the ball. It's a Jalen Hurts first offense because he's a very unique player. +1 in the running game, however you want to describe it. He's very difficult to deal with. They started taking advantage of that early in the season, was just throw the football, throw the football, throw the football. And he got back to what he was in Indianapolis. Now, he wasn't in charge, but remember what they did in Indianapolis. Andrew Luck retired. They had to go to Jacoby Brissett. They had to go to Phillip Rivers after that. They built 3 entirely different offenses in 3 years around the strengths of the quarterback. And Ed can tell you, they love Shane Steichen, Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo as well. They love Phillip Rivers. They never stop talking about Phillip Rivers, how smart he is, what he could do at the line of scrimmage, all that kind of stuff. Now he's a 40-year-old guy, been playing forever. Young quarterbacks can't do what Phillip Rivers does, so you have to build a different offense. Now, I bring up Justin Fields in Chicago. They hire Luke Getsy, who's with Aaron Rodgers, and he parachutes in and says, "All right, do what Aaron Rodgers does, Justin Fields." Well, he's going to fail. That's where I think the Eagles coaching staff is great. That's my opinion. They have built different offenses for different quarterbacks. And that seems like common sense, but it's not very common around the NFL. People run their offense and they put the quarterback in their offense.
So let me put it this way, John. We can all agree that the Eagles, even if you just look at the second half, take the 2-5 start, everybody's growing pains, put them all aside and just judge it from when they went to a Jalen Hurts offense. Compare last year's second half to this year's first 6 games. Is the improvement more because of coaching or more because of Jalen Hurts and just his own personal improvement, ability to throw the ball on time, accurately? I think he was as good a leader last year as he was this year, so I don't think that's changed. But do you think the improvement is more Jalen and the work that he's put in and how he's grown, or the fact that the coaching staff decided, all right, forget about trying to please the owner, we're just going to do what's best for us in evaluating our entire team?
Ed, I think it all is part of it, but I would think the most part is personnel. The most part is A.J. Brown, to be honest. But let's get Ed's thoughts.
Well, yeah, I think it's some familiarity too, right? I mean, Nick Sirianni came in, saw, was kind of under this mandate to let's see what Hurts can do because we want to see if we want to extend them. So he built his offense around Hurts. And John's right. A lot of coaches come in and they bring their scheme and then they try to fit the players into their scheme rather than looking at the players they have and then building the scheme. And so I think Nick came in and tried to build the scheme around Jalen and realized, hey, it's not working. We have 2 wins in 7 games here. Let's change our scheme a little bit. Let's change our approach and give the ball. Let's get some more players involved here. Sanders and Howard and Scott and, these guys that were running the ball last year. And now you're seeing more familiarity between the coach and the quarterback too. These guys know each other a little bit better. They understand what they can do and what they can't do, and they're playing to those strengths. And a coaching staff that has that flexibility, that doesn't come in married to a scheme, is going to succeed. And we're seeing that. And A.J. Brown, man, I mean, you're right. That to me just kind of brought it all together. In that game, it was kind of funny when we saw Brown and Diggs kind of barking at each other early in the game, in each other's face. And Brown was asked about it afterward, what was going on. And I loved his answer. He said he was trying to assert his dominance over us, and I wasn't having any of it. So, I mean, that is, to me, just speaks volumes of the type of player. Not only is he good, as a pass catcher and getting open and running with the ball in the open field, which is really, when he gets the ball in his hands, he's fun to watch what he's going to do with it. Because he's just not going to fall down or, try to pick up a yard or two. He's going to try to get every single yard out of that pass that he can. But he also gives you that edge, to say to Diggs, like, hey, man, you're in our house. You're not coming in here and beating us. He went right back at Diggs when Diggs is trying to assert his dominance on their home field. So I like that about Brown, too, his attitude. And he's brought it all together, in my opinion, with Hurts. Yeah, there's a familiarity, coach, quarterback, but Brown brings it all together, and he helps make this thing work.
Yeah, AJ, you think about that touchdown, Ed, which was, I'm looking at it, 15 yards. That was that little misdirection flip into the flat that has worked so well for him. Typically, when you see a wide receiver out there and they turn the football off the field, you're like, all right, he might make somebody miss. AJ turned that football off the field. I'm like, all right, that's over. Touchdown. Nobody's tackling him. They're not taking him on. He's so dominant in the open field because he's so big and so athletic. Normally, you got to make a miss if you're a receiver. AJ's like, you're not going to tackle me. Pretty impressive player. I always say I knew he was good. I didn't know he was this good.
Exactly. And Brown talked about that. He said all he had to do was outrun Micah Parsons. He wasn't sure if Parsons was going to, leak out with him to try to cover him. But Parsons was he looked like he didn't know what he was going to do because Hurts puts so much pressure on you as a running back.
Yeah.
That he was just kind of frozen in space there thinking, all right, is Hurts going to run? I got to be ready. Meanwhile, Brown's 5 yards behind him. It's an easy pitch and catch for Hurts. And then I think it was Donovan Wilson, number 6 for the Cowboys, around the 5-yard line. He wanted nothing to do with that tackle. He tried to go up high and just kind of bounced off him. And it was so easy. And
by the way, he's one of the more physical safeties in the NFL. He is. Donovan Wilson, he's known for big hits as much as you can be known.
He wasn't.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Wanted nothing to do.
They wanted no part. And if you see AJ, you understand why they want no part. Swole Batman.
Between you and I was actually more impressed with the catch he made leading to the second touchdown, which got him down to the 5. Devontae was the one who got the cash and chips and make the catch. But that catch I thought was even more impressive than his touchdown catch. He is that good. Johnny Mack, I remember you and I talking about it when they acquired him. And shame on me, I got to admit, I was wrong. I had him just outside the top 10. One day here on Birds 365, we went through it and ranked the top 10 receivers, what they've accomplished, what they project to do, trying to do a balance, and I had him at number 11. Oh, no.
Yeah, I had him outside the top 10, too, which, by the way, is not an insult. We got like we're insulting him. That's still very good, but he's been even better than that.
Absolutely.
He's a great player.
Remember our top 25 Eagles rankings. We had him, 4th, I think, or 3rd? I mean, maybe 2nd. We had him.
2nd, yeah. I had him 2nd overall. I forget what you had him.
Me too. I'd have to look. But, that's how I thought very highly of A.J. Brown when he got here. I knew he was a yards after catch guy. And Jody, that play you're talking about, that 22-yard, that's what I'm talking about. When he gets the ball in his hands, I mean, he turned that play from what was it? I don't know, an 8-yard gain or a 9-yard gain into a 22-yard gain because he was able to sprint outside, cut the corner, and guys were pursuing him, and they finally were able to get him down. But that's what he brings, man, is that yards after catch, which is fun to watch. I can't remember the last time the Eagles had a receiver that was that dangerous once he gets the ball in his hands.
No, because T.O.'s different. As big as T.O. was, he was, the game has changed. Now you have all these underneath throws, but you bring up, and we kept you too late. I apologize, Ed. At KratzESI.com/NFL/Eagles. That play, the touchdown play, you brought up the point where that also emphasizes the difficulty of Jalen Hurts, because you're right. Micah Parsons caught in between there, didn't know what to do. Do you go after the quarterback? Do you try to leak out with the receiver? That's the difficulties that Jalen Hurts, and that's what the coaching staff does with him. They put you in that conflict,
right?
And that conflict as a defender.
You're damned if you do and damned if you don't, because if he would have leaked out with Brown, then Brown's blocking as Jalen Hurts is sweeping the edge, and maybe it's a 15-yard touchdown run for Jalen Hurts. So, that's a tough position. And you're right. The coaches design that, they scheme that, and they played that out to perfection on that play.
All right, I'm going to throw one more before we let you run, Ed. Teams that, and I use this from time to time. Some people say I use it too much. The quote unquote Vegas odds, the gambling odds, call it what you want. It's no longer just Vegas. It's basically everywhere. Anybody who's got an app can be wagering on the NFL games and NFL futures before the season started. The defending champion Rams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the San Francisco 49ers, and the who am I forgetting now? Oh, that Rodgers team up there in Green Bay.
Yep.
All were shorter odds to get to the Super Bowl than the Philadelphia Eagles. They're all 3-3. That's not great. If you're planning on going to the Super Bowl, you want to be better than 3-3 after 6 games. And there are modicums of how much they've achieved in their first 6 games. Give me one from column A and one from column B. One out of those 4 teams who were all favored over the Eagles when the season started, did you go, all right, slow start, stub their toe. Oh, they're going to be there when we get to the final bell come playoffs in January. And one team that you go, yeah, Mac, they're not good. They were overrated. Good luck getting them back anywhere near the Super Bowl because I'm not seeing it. Which would you say is the team you would most have fear could get it turned around, and which one do you think is actually in a buried mode?
Well, I think the team that can turn it around would be the 49ers, just because I really like that defense. I like their coordinator, D'Amico Ryans, potential head coach if a team wants to hire a defensive coach. But I like their defense. I think, they lost to the Falcons, obviously. Tough
Falcons
trip.
moved it right down the field, first possession of the game. Ran it right down their throats. I was watching that game. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, I was surprised that the Falcons won, but that's a tough trip coming across country. But I think it's the 49ers for me that can turn this thing around, just because I love their defense. I think Kyle Shanahan will eventually figure it out. You wonder if Mike McDaniel was the brains behind that operation. Now he left and he's in Miami. Now they started out 3-0 and now they're 3-3. So the team I don't think that can turn it around probably would be the Packers, maybe the Bucks. I mean, the Packers to me I thought were overrated coming in. I know they got the all-world quarterback, but he has no weapons. They didn't do a good enough job putting anything around him. They got nothing around him, and it's showing. He's frustrated. And Aaron Rodgers, when he gets frustrated, isn't the same guy. And then in Tampa, you have a situation where Tom Brady's taking every Wednesday off. He's going through all this personal angst at home with his wife. And, he's 45. Let's not forget that at some point. Father time always wins. So I'm not sure the Bucks can turn it around either. I like their defense, but I don't like their defense as much as the 49ers. So I go 49ers can turn it. I don't think the Packers and Bucks will. I don't remember the other team.
Rams.
Oh, the Rams. Yeah, the Rams, they might be able to turn around. But that Super Bowl hangover thing for me is a real deal. It's hard to recapture that same energy, enthusiasm, intensity for 17 games that you had the year before as a Super Bowl champ. Now, they might turn it around if they can figure it out. 3-3, plenty of football ahead for these teams to do it. That's the one thing about the Eagles. They've put 6 wins in the bank. They have more of a margin for error. These teams at 3-3 have reduced their margin for error and need to get it turned around quickly, or they are going to be on the outside looking in.
I'll tell you why it's Tampa. 2 words, Todd Bowles. I watched Todd Bowles coach the Jets for a couple of years. Great defensive coordinator, not head coach. And there have been guys like that in the league who have been phenomenal coordinators, get a chance at the big chair, and they just can't do it. And that might be the case again for Todd Bowles. Eddie, we kept you a long time. Thank you very much for hanging with us as long as you did. Feel free to go back to eating eggs.
I have a dentist appointment, Jody. I got to get a little dental.
Make sure you then get all the eggs out. Do some flossing before you head out.
Next step. That's my next step. Thanks, guys.
Gratz from Sports Illustrated here with us on Birds 365. All right, Mac and Mac coming back. Here's what we're going to talk about next. We talked about the roster and the coaching staff and the great job Sirianni's done and the improvement in Jalen Hurts. We haven't mentioned that Roseman guy in a while and how he did a real good job other than we mentioned how good A.J. Brown is. That was a Howie Roseman acquisition. Howie might have to get back to work because we got a trade deadline coming up, and Howie is notorious for in-season contract extensions. Oh, there's a line at his office right now because guys are playing well, and the team is 6-0. And, Howie's going to be kept busy. I'll pick Johnny's brain about What is Howie going to do during this bye week and the next couple of weeks thereafter? We'll do it all here on Birds 365.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown's 5-day used car super sale. Jeff puts an end to high prices now. 5 days of the best car, truck, and SUV deals ever. Over 1,000 vehicles, every make and model. Stop overpaying. See Jeff today and get a quality car, truck, or SUV now. The 5-day used car super sale. Experience how easy it is to deal at Jeff's. Nobody treats you better. Nobody gives you more. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. GoJeffAuto.com.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Over the last 17 years, we've built a reputation of growing award-winning teams across the country. Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
John McMullen and Jody McDonald, your Mac Birds 365 guys. Appreciate you streaming on in. Go ahead, hit that like button. Why not? Unless you truly hate us. And if you hate us, why the hell are you streaming in with us anyway? If you're here, you might as well give us a little bit of a pop and give us a little help with our, what is it, algorithm, John?
Algorithm.
YouTube stuff goes over my head, but you could boost our algorithm a little bit if you hit that like button. If you're an Eagles fan and you're happy about being 6-0, even though John and I have exactly 0 to do with that, but one of the two of us did actually pick the Eagles to go to the Super Bowl before the year started. I'm just saying.
I did not do that, but I did for all the people that say I'm a hater. I have picked them every week, so I picked them to go 6-0.
Yeah, you're 6-0. I'm 6-0. I'm
sometimes 5-1. I didn't pick them to beat the spread, and I've been.
But you did this past week.
Yes,
you had them. You had them winning by 9. I had them winning by 7. So of course, Eagles won by 8, right in the middle. Split the difference between you and I. So we both had the Eagles winning and covering at 6.5. Which, oh, by the way, Brett Maher lining up that 50-some-odd yarder late in the game. I thought my wager was dead in the water.
Yeah,
I thought Maher was making the Eagles going to win the game. They did what they had to do. It's a strategy that's been used before. Kick the field goal and then try the onside kick.
I like that strategy, by the way.
Yeah, and some people just don't get it. How can you down by that many? You got to get the touchdown first. No, you don't. You got to get 2 scores.
You gotta
so it
get
doesn't
2,
matter
yeah.
which order they come in. If you got to take the field goal first, so be it. Here's the problem. You got to make the field goal. And Brett Maher didn't. Thank you, Brett, because I had the Eagles.
And I think that was 59 yards. So, yeah, I don't know about the odds in that. I believe it was 59 yards. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that to me is a little bit too long.
Maher's got that kind of leg, though. And oh, by the way, it had the distance. It would have got over the crossbar.
Now, but Justin Tucker, who missed one, I think this week, but typically I'd let him do whatever he wants. But certain other guys, who was the New Orleans kicker? Made a 60-yarder in London, and then he almost made another 60-yarder. The double doink. That was pretty impressive. Will Lutz. Will Lutz, yeah.
And Butker made one from 60.
Oh, yeah, 62, I think, Butker. Yeah.
So we're seeing 60s, and I thought Maher had a chance to make that one. But for those of you who not only root for the Eagles, but maybe also wager on the Eagles, you got the double W this week, the win and the cover, if you were banking on your Philadelphia Eagles. All right, a bye week, Johnny Mac. We know that the players get downtime. A whole bunch of them will be coming into the facility for rehab purposes. We talked about Mailata in hour number 1, that as well as he played and neutralizing Big Mouth DeMarcus Lawrence, he admitted after the game, despite proudly coming from Stoutland University, pain is pain is pain. Doesn't matter how much tutelage you get at Stoutland University, you can still be asked to play in pain, and he did just that and did it quite well. Some guys will be in for rehab stuff, but other than that, Eagles getting downtime. Not Howie Roseman. He might very well be busy. It's a Tuesday, so it's 2 weeks from tomorrow. Today's Tuesday. 2 weeks from today is the NFL trade deadline. In comparison to both Major League Baseball, the NBA, and even the NHL, which has their trade deadline way late in the season, the strategic placing of the trade deadline always fascinates me. The NFL has done a great job because they've continually moved it back. They've noticed that there aren't too many things that the NFL trails other sports in. One of them has been buzz around the trade deadline date. You and I have been around long enough. The trade deadline used to be like after week 3. It was ridiculously early in the season. So you couldn't even evaluate whether your team was good enough that you were going to make a playoff run and you could upgrade and should upgrade and be willing to give up draft pick. They've strategically moved it back over the years. So now it's going to come up 2 weeks from now into November. Eagles going to be active at the trade deadline? Is Howie Roseman certainly done that before. The name that gets most often mentioned, I would say, was Jay Ajayi, which was a key addition in the Super Bowl year. You think they're going there this year, J-Mac?
You know, I never say never with Howie because he just likes to do stuff. He likes to be active, so to speak. I don't think it's going to be anything eye-popping, special teams. I mean, he might pick up a special teams player. If he can do something that can help this football team win, and everybody brings up Jay Ajayi, I do think it's different. You mentioned some of the other sports, baseball, basketball specifically. I think it's easier to integrate people than football midseason, and certainly at certain positions, like running back, Jay Ajayi, you bring up. It's easier to integrate a running back than it is a wide receiver, Golden Tate. It didn't work out very well. Same thing on defense. It's not as easy to integrate. You saw Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, they acquired him late in the process. You see some growing pains. Now it's starting to get a little bit better. So I don't think there's going to be a big splash, but he likes to be active. So you can always, if something comes across his desk, and it could be something as simple as a special teams player. Sure, he's always checking into things. But for people hoping for Christian McCaffrey, no. Brian Burns has been why would Carolina trade Brian Burns? I mean, that's a young player you want to build on. And where's he going to fit into this team? I don't want to mess with this team. As far as the core of this team, I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to mess with it at all. And I think Howie's smart enough to don't mess with the core. If you can add somebody who makes you different, a role player, a special teams player, yeah. But as far as a splash, no, I don't. This team's too good. Don't mess with it.
I agree with you, John. The thing that's most telling to me is, who is he replacing? What guy are you going to go out that is going to step in and you're going to take out of your lineup? And I'm talking offense or defense. I'm not talking special teams. And say, we're upgrading at this position by acquiring this player because we need to replace this player. I don't think they have a player on this team that they're starting 22 right now where you say, we need to upgrade that spot. He's okay. Maybe even you say he's good, but we can get a very good or a great player at that position. We need to do it because we should upgrade at that spot. I don't think they have that on the 22 starters right now. There isn't the guy where you say, but here's the one place where they could get better. I don't know that they have that. So, what it comes down to is basically, can Howie find out, figure out, and then give a legit price, not overpay, but not underpay, for a special teams guy. And that's not easy. That's some heavy lifting that Howie's going to have to do. He's going to have to depend on his scouting staff that have noticed that this guy is a value at a special team spot. That's more scouting than it is just take, he's got 4 special teams tackles. Really, you're going to use the analytics to figure that one out? No, it's got to be done on a scouting level. That's, I think, the only thing that Howie could or should be doing to upgrade this team in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, even somebody like Burns, and I bring him up because obviously the Carolina fired Matt Rule. Our buddy Mike Kay's down there now covering the Panthers for the Charlotte Observer. So, kind of have an insight on that team. He's like, they're not going to trade him, but you could argue he'd be better long-term than, say, Josh Sweat. But why would you do it in season? Even if they were willing to trade, it would cost an unbelievable amount. You have the growing pains of getting somebody talented in season. You're replacing a really good player with maybe a slightly better player with a bigger upside who's healthier long-term, all that, blah, blah, blah. But it just doesn't make any sense. And Christian McCaffrey, as I've always said, same thing. Panthers fired their coach, fire sale. They already traded Robbie Anderson. They want to get out of the McCaffrey business because they pay him all this money and he's always hurt. The Eagles loved him coming out of the draft. Nobody questions his talent. He is the most well-rounded running back in the NFL when he's on the field, which isn't often. But why are you going to mess with the season Miles Sanders is having for that kind of price tag and what it's going to cost to acquire him? I really don't think a lot of people think these things out past that's a good player. I want that player.
And here's the thing about Burns. You didn't touch on, you gave us 2 or 3 legit reasons why it probably doesn't add up. He's on the last year of his rookie deal, which means he's going to get paid. If you want to keep him, and why would you want to rent a guy like that for the price it's going to cost and then say, all right, we make our Super Bowl run. If not, we can't quite afford him. We're going to let him walk away because we're already committed to Sweat. We're already committed to Hassan Reddick. We can't pay over $10 million for another defensive end. That's part of the problem. And if you say, the cap's going up, Howie Roseman's great managing the cap. Well, he usually is, but how much of an increase are they looking at quarterback? What is Jalen Hurts playing for this year? Johnny Mack as a 2nd-round draft pick on the 3rd year of his rookie deal. What's he pulling down this year?
Far less than 2, closer to $1 million.
I was going to say it's under 2. I know it's under 2.
It's under 2. Yeah.
Right. And next year he's going to play at a significantly smaller number again. But then, oh my God, is it going up? We're looking as of right now. It's 40 plus, right? He's looking at 40 million plus.
Oh yeah.
The question
and
is
by the way, you
50.
talked about extensions in general, because they have a lot of people they have to address. TJ Edwards, Bradbury, Kaiser White, all those defenders on 1-year deals, on and on and on. Miles Sanders now, you got to talk about him back in the conversation, having a great year. This is not the time to work out extensions when you're 6-0. I mean, as a GM, you're not hoping you're losing games, but you're also know when your leverage is highest. And believe me, Howie knows when his leverage is highest, and it is not right now at this particular moment.
Understood. All right, let's take a quickie time out here, John. Then we'll come back. Let's go through some of these guys.
By the way, we got Bob Groats. I don't know if you saw him. Late edition. Bob Groats.
I did not know. Groats is coming up next?
Yeah. So
all
hopefully we'll do a break. We'll get to it with Bob. We'll see what he thinks, because that's interesting, the extension conversation.
Bob Groats going to join us next. Before we go to commercial, and maybe Groats isn't listening yet. Who was the first one to ask him about Bradbury on Monday night? Sunday night?
It was either me or Kratz, probably.
Okay, good. Yeah. We love Groats. I love Groats, but he just missed the boat on Bradbury's not that good because he missed that tackle in the opener against the Lions. He's been Pro Bowl, all pro level since that missed tackle against the Lions. Phenomenal. I think he's actually been better than Big Play Slay. I know Big Play gets the interceptions, but just pure coverage, Bradbury's been every bit as good as Don't Call Me Darius Slay. We'll come back, talk to Bob Groats. He's up next here on Birds 365.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Action News at 11 with Rick Williams. It's the team you trust to bring it all together. The stories that impact your community. A sports roundup for the locals. And the AccuWeather forecast you depend on. Action News at 11 with Rick Williams.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Since 1977 at Rafferty Subaru, we have always been about our customers and the community. Early on, a safe and durable option, we've evolved to become the best overall brand according to Kelley Blue Book. Over the last 14 years, we've donated thousands of dollars through the Subaru Share the Love event and found homes for hundreds of pets. The Rafferty family is proud of our 45 years in business. This month, celebrate our anniversary with special financing on select models. Visit us and see why.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass. Free.
What's that?
A rocks glass?
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that. Holy shit.
And you're telling me I can get one of these glasses for free?
That's right. One free rocks glass per customer with each first-time purchase of Stateside Vodka. So good, it just disappears.
Tuesday edition of Birds 365. He's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. And that handsome fellow down below us, adjusting his phone to be able to hop on the air with us, is Bob Groats. He's checking his whereabouts. He doesn't know where he is.
No, I was wondering who you were talking about. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I didn't know if somebody was creeping up on you. You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's been a lot of that, too. I don't know if you guys are reading the news, but, yeah, you got to watch out for that.
Yeah. Make sure those mirrors are working.
Yes,
you gotta,
don't want to
6-0, Jody.
Yeah.
Gross, here's where I'm going to give you credit, but I'm also going to just tear you down. You, when you've been on with us, have pointed out that this is a doable schedule, that the Eagles could get off to a fast start, and they can beat that team and that team and that team just through. And you talked
100% right, by the way, Bob Groats.
Possibility of ripping out to an undefeated start well into the season. You had that one dead on. For the reasons that you came up with, more power to you. I didn't think they were going to be 6-0. I am going to the Super Bowl, but I didn't think they were going to be 6-0. And you certainly did say that was a possibility.
I did mention the talent, too.
You did, except for the cornerback across from Darius Slay. Because
I think he's ordinary. I don't know what
you're still saying that after the way that he's played. You're telling me you still think Bradbury's ordinary.
Jody, you got a bad knee, and you could probably keep up with him in the 40-yard dash. This guy is the definition of slow.
How is he one of the most highly rated cornerbacks in several different analytical statistical categories? How's he doing it if he's as slow as molasses?
How come the Giants had no room for him?
The Giants, they messed up their
don't
cap.
tell me it was just caps. No.
It was absolutely cap. I talked to Bob Papa. I talked to Bob Papa on Sunday night, the voice of the Giants, who's been with that calling their games for almost 2 decades now. He gets great inside information. They wanted to keep Bradbury. They couldn't. They had to do something. They had to cut somebody, and they thought he was the guy that they were able to replace with the guys that they had via the draft. Oh, by the way, those young Giant cornerbacks are actually playing pretty well. So they had the right lead on it.
That's my point, Jody. They're good. Yeah. They couldn't even trade him.
Nobody wanted to trade him because the whole world knew they were going to cut him.
No,
it's completely obvious.
Because he's 30 years old and he's on the back end of his career. And, I'll still stand by this. All your analytics and stuff, no one has been thrown at more in the red zone since the start of 2021 than James Bradbury. So, if they ever play a good team, if they ever play a team with good receivers, you'll see that.
So we'll see it.
By the way,
I think Buffalo is the only team that fits into that category. So we're going to have to wait to the Super Bowl.
And I think that's kind of the story of this season. This is some of the worst football I've ever seen, across the board. It's not parity; it's bad football across the board.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get Jody more upset because, I don't know. I don't know if this was a stick or not by Bob at the game, but he had kind of taken the baton from James Bradbury, put it on Devontae Smith. So where are we with Devontae Smith? He's just not explosive enough for you. What is?
But he's not. He should be the third option. It's that simple.
Well,
Goddard.
You can make that. You can make that argument.
Starts with AJ Brown, then Goddard, and then Devontae.
That's fair.
I thought you were going Quez there for a second. I was gonna reach through the computer screen and grab you by the neck.
Yeah, because Dallas is so good. I don't have a problem with that. But Devontae's a really good player as a second receiver. I don't think
would they have drafted him if they had gotten AJ Brown? I don't think so.
If they would have gotten Justin Jefferson, they wouldn't have drafted him. There's a lot of what.
No. If they could have traded for AJ Brown before the 2021 draft, would they have drafted Devontae? No, I don't think so.
No.
Micah.
Yeah, but they didn't have any interest. That was brought up to Nick Sirianni in the lead up to the Cowboys game. It was evident. Because I'm surprised, Bob, that more Eagles fans haven't latched on to the Eagles getting Micah Parsons or could have gotten Micah Parsons. They could have if they stayed at, what was it, 6 originally? They couldn't have at 10. The Cowboys wanted Micah Parsons, so they weren't going to trade out. They made sure the Eagles.
I understand.
They made sure the Eagles were going to go offense.
They decided that the Eagles were more of were less of a threat at the time than the Giants, or they would have they wouldn't have traded with the Eagles. I mean, they barely got anything.
Yeah. So I'm not. They were not interested in Micah Parsons, which, in hindsight, is probably not the best thing. But there were a lot of teams that didn't know what Micah Parsons was.
Probably. Oh my God.
Well, yeah, I'm surprised. So why haven't more Eagles fans latched on? Is it just because they're 6-0? They're not thinking about it? Because
I think because they got Reddick, they got Sweaty, they got BG. They're getting the job done. That pass rush is getting. I mean, they're doing it.
It's a good pass rush.
And Bob went there. No one was thinking about, except maybe John McMullen and the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody was thinking about Micah Parsons as one of the top pass rushers in the league. No, he was a good all-around linebacker who made plays in the running game, covering people. Shoot, Collinsworth said the other night on TV, he thinks he could play any position on defense, including cornerback, safety, linebacker, defensive line.
I don't agree with that.
He may have overstepped.
But I was the only
he
one.
was that good a player.
Can I say this about cornerback? He beat Bradbury by 4 lengths.
Oh my God! You're digging yourself such a friggin' hole. The guy's going to the Pro Bowl, buddy.
4 laps.
Now, Bob knows because Micah Parsons has short arms, short little T-Rex arms.
Yeah, that was supposed to be the knock on him.
Yeah, and I said no. The guy can rush the passer. I take credit for that one. Even the Dallas Cowboys didn't know.
Well,
he's not an all-ball linebacker.
Nick Fierro thought he was pretty good too. You and Nick.
We'll give Nick credit.
Yeah.
All right, let me jump back to where John and I were going before we punched you up there, Mr. Groats.
And James
Howie's activity list. Howie's activity list over the next 2 weeks. Worried about adding a key special teams piece, doing what Howie's been very good at doing the last couple of years, getting that key extension for one of their core pieces that is on a short-term deal as of right now. What is Howie going to be doing to keep busy these next 2 weeks when his players are resting and relaxing during the bye week?
Yeah, they do need they may need 2 core special teams guys, a couple of veterans, and that can really take charge. That's what they haven't had for like 3 years, like a vet, who like a Chris. Remember Maragos, what he did for them?
Oh yeah,
sure,
tremendous special teams.
Who was the other guy? Who was the linebacker, the 6'5" guy? They used to bring him in late.
Ryan Brayman.
Yeah. Okay. They need those kind of guys. They need just a couple of those to get that. Their techniques. Maybe, Britton Covey, his returns have been okay. Maybe you want to look something there. Although I think, I really think that they ought to look at that position, Devontae Smith, a little bit more, punt returner. I don't think he's going to get hurt. And, he's really good at avoiding it. So I think that would give him a little juice. So they need juice at returner on special teams. And those core special teams guys, I don't think you'd see, the every week breakdowns. Every week something, they've been fortunate that that hasn't come back to really get them. So, in terms of signing core people, they've been really good. The Eagles have been really good at getting these guys to take hometown discounts ahead of time. The only one who didn't do it was Goddard. He hung in there.
Yeah.
And,
he bet on himself.
Yeah, he hung in there and he got I think a little bit better deal. But yeah, who are they going to sign? I don't know. I don't even know. They can't. The quarterback obviously is the guy you want to sign, but they can't do.
You can't,
until after the year. Right?
Well, you have TJ, you have Bradbury, your favorite. You have Kaiser White. You have Chauncey
I don't
Gardner
think
Johnson.
Bradbury comes back. I don't think he's.
I agree with you, but for different
Yeah.
reasons. I think he's going to get more money than the Eagles are willing to go.
They may have to help him get in his car to leave. You know, he's tired, man. He's a tired vet. They may have.
Hey, Groats, I got to give you credit. You take Hader to a new level. You really do. Here's the bar, and then there's Bob Groats as a hater. Just unbelievable. You are a Pro Bowl hater, much like James Bradbury is a Pro Bowl level player. You're a Pro Bowl level hater.
That guy is still an upgrade. He's still an upgrade.
I love it. But I will say this, Howie is smart, as you know, Bob. This is not the time to extend people. He does not have leverage right now. 6-0 is not the time to extend people. He's too smart.
If you want to give him a hometown discount, it is.
Well, yeah, but they won't take it. They'll say, "Hey,
I think they will." Yeah,
I'm 6-0. Now TJ might take it because I think he likes that the Eagles. Oh, we lost Bob for a second. Hopefully, we get him back. I think TJ is respectful and understands the Eagles gave him an opportunity. I think he's somebody who might be willing to take a hometown discount because a lot of teams he was undrafted. He was a great player in college, went completely undrafted. Nobody would give him an opportunity. The Eagles did. I think that goes a long way. The other guys, Kaiser, Chauncey, James Bradbury, they don't have a history here. They're 1-year guys. They're mercenaries. They want to get paid.
Yeah. What about who would you sign first? And I've been thinking about that. Would I want Kaiser more than TJ?
Oh, by the way, Epsy. I forgot Epsy. You got to sign Epsy too. Yeah.
I got to be honest right now. I mean, as well as TJ has played, I might want Kaiser before him, but not long term. I'm not talking. I'm talking maybe a 2-year deal. So
I might want Epsy first because I think he might be the guy most likely to sign a cost-effective deal. Well, he's been a good player.
There's a bunch of good cover guys, that safety type corner guys in this draft, and they're going to have New Orleans pick, and I think right now it's a top 10 pick. So they could get they could do something like that in the draft. So
yeah, that's a good point.
I don't
think that's 6th pick right now. 6th pick in the draft. Yeah.
By the way, have either of you guys seen this Miles Murphy of Clemson, the defensive end? This guy is unbelievable. He's just an offense wrecker,
I watched the Clemson game the other day, and I didn't recognize him as the elite defensive player.
He's still rotating.
Miles Murphy, you say?
Yeah. Oh my God, he's like 6'7", about 275, 280, and he just runs over people. They double team him, and he runs over them. He was rotating a lot in that game. I don't know, maybe he was a little banged up or something, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I watched that game too, and I didn't see him in there every single series. So, but when he was in there, he just crushed people. So, but you're looking at him and the Ohio State quarterback is 2 of your top 5 picks. I'm convinced of that. And then you're going to have a bunch of. This is a pretty good draft. So the Eagles they're in good position for that. So I guess that speaks to what you were talking about, John. I mean, it's not like they have to do anything with these extensions, like there's going to be some guys they can bring in,
Yeah, top 10 pick is going to be, now that you don't have to worry about quarterback, that top 10 pick potentially, if the Saints continue to go the way they're going, that's going to be an opportunity to get a really good player on a cost-effective deal for 4 years. That's exactly what the Eagles need.
All right, I'm gonna channel my inner Groats here as a hater. And I'm not a hater, but I'm just going to question something which might not go over well because I'm questioning a guy who's a general manager of a squad who's 6-0. Did Howie miss the boat by not going multi-year with Kaiser White? Because we did bring that up when he traded for him, didn't have to give up when they made the free agent sign.
Nobody else was giving him.
Yeah, I think that guy's pretty good. He's better than I thought. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah, I did question it here on the dating side. Really, only a 1-year deal. If you get him to come in, why can't you get him for 2 years? Because Howie's great given the massive contract with those voidable years on the back end.
Right.
I did question it, and White has played well enough. Will we be critiquing Howie Roseman if Kaiser White goes elsewhere and the Eagles only gave him the 1 year come in and prove it deal?
Well, they got your guy. Don't forget your guy, Nakobe.
Yeah, Nakobe. I mean,
waiting in the wings. They're going to have to get him some snaps. So I don't know what
they were thinking. Which came first, Nakobe's draft or Kaiser's signing?
Right. But to your question, I mean, Kaiser White, he's good. I thought I was a little skeptical because they've been bringing in the leading tacklers of bad defenses. And I don't think that's a good thing. Like the Minnesota guys, it's like, can we let's look at a bad defense and let's bring in their leading tackler, and get him for cheap,
Yeah.
I thought that was another one. I thought this was another one of those moves, but he's
Paul Warlow's of the Eric Wilsons of the world.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they gave him an option.
We haven't used Paul Warlow's name here on Birds 365.
Yeah. Well, he was a big tackler at one point.
I like what a nice guy, man.
Yeah,
Jeez.
really nice guy.
Nice guy.
So was Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson was a nice guy. But,
local guy.
Yeah.
Warlow, isn't he the TNT champion, Johnny Mac? Or
Wardlow? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is Paul, the great Paul Warlow.
Getting confused here. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Hey, I got to tell you this, Jody. I was in Marcus Hook on Saturday for the statue dedication. It's a statue of Billy White Shoes
Johnson. Yeah. We had Ray Dinger on WIP on Sunday morning. He said he was shooting the breeze with you on Saturday.
Ray did a great job at that ceremony too. He's just a natural with he said a few things about White Shoes and but anyway, White Shoes is there. He's winding down to the end of his 12-minute 59-second acceptance speech, and he still hasn't done the dance, Jody. And I'm there, and I'm thinking he's 70 years old now. It's not like he gets out of the car.
White Shoes 70 now?
Yeah, he's 70. That's what I said. I did a double take. I had to confirm that. So yours truly said, Billy, can you do the dance? And he did it. And he's immortalized on video. It wasn't real long. It was like a 3-second dance. But in 3 seconds, that guy did what he did back in the day. Oh man, what a great guy though. And what a richly deserved honor.
Yeah, by the way, Ted, I was talking to Ted Cottrell was there as well.
Oh, yeah. Great guy.
Former longtime defensive coordinator in this league, Chester guy.
Used to crush Peyton Manning every time they played Peyton Manning. He's the only coordinator to shut out Peyton Manning on any level.
Yeah, he was a heck of a assistant coach for a long time. In this Delaware County, obviously Delco with you, Billy White Shoes Johnson, Ted Cottrell. You showed me the picture. I was like, wow, these guys are from this area. I didn't realize it, to be honest. It's been a while. I think
Ted Cottrell is one of Billy's biggest fans too. Billy's kind of soft spoken, and Bill Manlove was there. You remember him, Jody, right? Coach at Widener all those years, won a couple of Division III titles, and just a great day. Oh, Kurt Weldon was there. You guys will be happy to know that, right? Congressman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. When in doubt, get out and make a speech.
Ted Cottrell, by the way, he was a Jets. I think he was a Jets DC at one point.
Yeah.
I know he's a coach.
When Herman Edwards was there.
I believe so.
Under Herm? Okay.
I would have to look that up, but
it was a great day. A great day was had by all. I never saw Marcus Hook look so good in my life. As a matter of fact, that's the first time I've ever been there where I could see the sun.
Nice.
2001 to 2003, Jody. Jets defensive coordinator.
DC. Okay. I remember as a coach. I don't remember as the defensive coordinator. All right, Bobby, who would win a 40-yard dash race? 70-year-old White Shoes Johnson or James Bradbury?
White Shoes.
White Shoes beats him in the 40.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I really like him. Yeah. He's still got a good get off. Yeah.
I know you got to run here, Bob. At Bob Groats.
Yeah, I got to get rolling, guys.
Hold on, wait. I got one more. I
got one more.
I got one
more. Better punt returner for the Eagles. Billy White Shoes Johnson or Britton Covey?
Oh, Britton Covey. Yeah. Yeah, he still can.
Covey over White Shoes, but not Bradbury over White Shoes.
Yeah.
My God. All right, is today Happy Tuesday, Johnny Mac?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so are you going to be in attendance to talk to the DC of the Philadelphia Eagles today, Bob?
Oh, no, I got another show to do. Yeah, I got.
Okay, then John, will you ask the question for Bob today? How the defensive coordinator has been able to hide the fact that James Bradbury is slower than molasses?
Yeah.
Will you ask that question for Bob today?
Look who he's covering. Who's covering the best receiver, Jody? I mean, come on, you can figure this out yourself.
You are unbelievable. I love you, but you are
Area
just
player, whoever. Yeah.
All right, go do your show, bro. And we're so glad you weren't carjacked because you do pay attention to the phone when you're on here, and we thank you very much.
Keep your head on a swivel, Bob.
All right, you guys. Always a pleasure.
Good. Bob Groats from the Delco Times. Who's he write for again? Delco Times, right?
Yeah, Delco Times. Yeah.
He is a piece of work. It's just, he's a dog with a bone. You talk about dog mentality. That's him.
Yeah.
He's not giving up on the Bradbury's not that good thing, despite evidence to the contrary. Week after week after week after week, this guy does not. Even the touchdown that they tried to give to the receiver against him, they had to go to replay to go, yeah, no, he played that just well enough to make sure that the receiver didn't get the second.
Yeah, Bradbury's such a, he's wrong. Bradbury's such a smart player, too. He's not to be honest, he's not the fastest cornerback in the NFL, but he's so savvy, so smart. He's a great zone corner. He's great for what the Eagles play. He's a perfect fit. He's played at such a high level. But I'm going to upset Eagles fans because I'll tell you, there is one guy who is now he's been fine, but man, the Eagles I shouldn't say, I hate to generalize. A lot of Eagles fans overrate Kaiser White. He's been fine. I mean, he's not. There's no way. The plan for this team is to extend TJ Edwards and to get Nakobe Dean on the field next year. That's the plan. Now, if it works out, you always have questions on young players and rookie players, but that's the hope. And look, he's been fine, but I constantly hear Kaiser White. I mean, come on, guys. It's been
Johnny Mac, you're putting it on the Eagles fans. Say Eagle fans are overrating him. Who do you think's going to get a bigger contract this offseason? Kaiser White or Edwards?
TJ, because TJ will get multiple years from the Eagles. Kaiser will probably get another 1-year deal somewhere.
Yeah, okay. We'll debate that one over the next 9 months. I think White's going to get a bigger deal. And it's probably going to be elsewhere. But if we're talking guaranteed money, yeah, I think he's going to get.
Well, the only reason
money per year, and you're right, Edwards may get an extra year. But if you're talking about guaranteed money per year, and I think that's a fair way to judge the actual value of a contract, yeah, I think White's going to outdo Edwards.
Well, I should say if I'm wrong, and Eagles fans are right, and again, I don't want to generalize, but the Eagles fans that believe Kaiser White is this tremendous player, and he's a good player. I'm not being Bob Groats. He's a good, solid player. Nothing more, nothing less. Because of the position he plays, he should get more because, they value weak side linebackers more than middle linebackers in this league, money-wise, financially, because of the shifts in the game. So he should get more. And I go back to last offseason. Contracts tell you a lot. And you said, why didn't they give him 2 years? Well, they didn't have to give him 2 years. That's,
right. But if they lose him, if he goes elsewhere, you can absolutely in 2020 hindsight. I don't even have to do it in 2020 hindsight because I did it right here on Birds 365 when they announced the signing. maybe a multi-year deal for Kaiser would have been a better play. Oh, you can. I'm gonna second guess Howie Roseman if they do not keep Kaiser White this offseason, because I did say it the day he signed.
But
you're right. The league didn't dictate it, but I dictated it.
And by the way, Nakobe's a big part of this as well, because they have somebody waiting in the wings. If they didn't have Nakobe, that would change my thinking, but they do. So, I mean, and that's sort of a lot of things factor into this. The quarterback factors into this, because then you're looking for players like Nakobe Dean to step up, because you need younger players on cost-effective deals, as opposed to going out and getting veteran players that are going to get paid more once you start paying the quarterback. So a lot of things factor into it. But yeah, you mentioned when the Eagles signed Kaiser White, they didn't think they were getting Nakobe Dean in the third round.
Right.
You know, so that kind of fell into their lap. And now, you know, the goal is they want to get him on the field at some point, hopefully.
But as you and I have said a couple of times, and you know, there might not be a bigger fan of Nakobe Dean than me. The guys playing in front of him are playing too well. They had both Kaiser and Edwards had mediocre games in Arizona. Both of them came back with well above average games this past week. So they both had one bad. They'd been great for the first 4 weeks, both of them. They both had, I guess they kind of play hand in hand. Neither one of them played great last week against Arizona for me. And then both of them were phenomenal Sunday night against the Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're trying to get Nakobe Dean on the field this year. I'm saying moving forward, you know, the hope is that he's going to be a starting player next season. All
right, but here's one where you can give us some info. Maybe you got off the record or whatever, so you don't have to make it attributable to anybody. Truth be told, best position for Nakobe Dean to play. What do the Eagles think it is?
Oh,
not what Nakobe thinks it is, not what anybody else thinks it is. What the Eagles coaching staff believes. What do they think Nakobe's best position is?
Oh, weak side linebacker.
You sure about that?
Not even close. Not even
really
close. Yeah.
All right. If you're getting it from a source, and I'm just getting it from my observation,
I will say I'm getting it from the biggest source possible that I can't give up.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, there's size issues. There's size issues at middle linebacker. And he's very smart. He's very instinctive. And they think he can be a very good pass coverage linebacker as he gets some experience. But he's too small to hold up at middle linebacker.
Yeah, he was phenomenal. He was playing against SEC level talent, was phenomenal at Georgia. So I don't know why he can't play it in the NFL. But that's
he can play it. It's just, you know, a lot, you know, he's smart enough to play the position. But, you know, TJ's 240 pounds, man.
And what do you think Nakobe is? 222? So we're talking about 18 pounds different. That's all the difference in the world, 18 pounds?
That's a big difference. That is a big difference, Jody. That is a big difference. They probably list him at more than 222, but that's a good number because they list him at more than he is. You know, Eric Wilson is a perfect. We were just talking about Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson is too small to play middle linebacker in the NFL. It makes a lot of tackles, makes him 7-8 yards down the field, or did when he was in Minnesota, and when he was here. And Houston and the 17 other cities he's been since he left here. Too small. 240 to 220 at linebacker. That is a big difference.
We'll see how this plays out. He's John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. You know what we got to do. Come back, put a bow in the show. Run out of time here on Birds 365.
the greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pond Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
The faces you know, the team you trust. The Delaware Valley's leading news program, Action News.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win. Go to Ocean.
J-Mac and J-Mac put the bow on the show here on Birds 365. John, you said earlier it's going to be a happy Tuesday, which means you're going to hear from Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen, both coordinators today.
And Michael Clay. Don't forget Michael Clay.
Now, you've been doing this for 6 weeks. We won't even go back to last year, just what's happened. Time frame on each guy. I know it probably varies week to week. Is Clay always the shortest?
No, if you're up there, we're going to ask you questions. He's got to be up there for as long as everybody else. So it's about 15 minutes, sometimes a little bit less, but it should be 15 minutes.
Is there a chance that he'll be up there longer than his two brethren? Because the Eagles special teams is not a strength at this time.
No, it never goes longer than 15. They cut it off, but he'll be up there. A lot of people say, what do you ask? There's always stuff to ask. So, he's got to go through the ringer.
All right.
But he's been going through it all year. He knows the drill.
One question, and it may be you, and then you could certainly dictate it and absolutely guarantee you're going to be right, but you don't know that either. First name the chain that Jonathan Gannon will reference when questioned today. It'll be determined by the question more than anything else. I get that, but what'll be the first name?
Well, Jonathan lately has been doing an opening statement, so he will get.
All right, then, as per his opening statement, what individual Eagle player will he name first?
I don't have time, but I'm trying to stall. I'm trying to think of. I would imagine it would probably be Bradbury.
Either here, CJG, right?
Oh yeah, CJG. Sorry, yeah, Chauncey, most likely. Chauncey.
One of those two. He's got to go D-backs because they were phenomenal again this week in the victory over the Cowboys. Sorry,
Chauncey.
Sorry for the 3 Cooper Rush fans left out there. All right, J-Mac, we got to get the hell out of Dodge. We got your boy Mike Gill joining us tomorrow. We'll work up somebody else. Tell JG I said hello, and tell him he's being disrespected by Bob Groats, since Groats isn't going to be there.
He isn't. James Bradbury is.
You
got to die on the hill, I guess. If you
isn't it by extension also a shot at the
well, JG takes enough shots. What do people want from JG, by the way? Top 5 at everything.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Partner, I say we're back in 2 and 2. You good?
Let's do it.
Catch you tomorrow, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365. the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate, inside the locker room, and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.